He turned a once failing government-linked commercial airline into Asia's biggest player in the budget airline industry. Tony Fernandes, the Malaysian-born CEO of AirAsia, studied accounting at the London School of Economics and, for a while, worked in the music industry in the UK. He served as Regional Vice President for Warner Music Southeast Asia from 1999 to 2001. When its parent company announced its merger with another company, he felt it was time to pursue a long-held dream of having his own business. With no prior airline experience, he and his partner transformed AirAsia into one of the fastest-growing and most successful low-fare airlines in the world. In 2007, he started a no-frills hotel chain, Toon Hotels, with properties in Britain, Australia, and the Far East. Tony Fernandes is an inspiring leader who turned his big dreams into an even bigger reality.
Please welcome the CEO of AirAsia, Mr. Tony Fernandes.
Hi everyone. Morning. Hey, morning. Oh wow, powerful Malaysian here. Anyway, I've got a presentation somewhere. Do I just click this? Right. This is a very impressive video presentation. I'm not used to it because I'm very low cost. So. Well done to Doris for spending so much money. Fly in AirAsia, you'll get it back. Because we're much cheaper than Cebu and PAL. And better. All right, I'll run this through. So, as the video said, I came from the music business. I had no experience in airlines. I took over AirAsia 14 years ago. For 25 cents. We had 2 planes and 200 staff, and I didn't have a single bit of airline experience. So to all your SMEs, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, because business is business. It's about a top line, maximizing your top line, minimizing your cost, and having a strong balance sheet. It's all about cash, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. By the way, this is a great audience. I didn't know there were so many people here. I just did APEC, and they made me wear a jacket. They were very worried about my appearance because I'm low cost. The Jollibee guy kept sending me notes about his business attire, etc. I was the low cost part of the segment, so I get a free Jollibee burger after I did a speech. Anyway, going back to what I did. So we started with 2 planes 14 years ago. You know, we started this airline, we signed for this airline 3 days after 9/11. And we delayed it till December because we didn't have enough money to actually pay for the bonus. So me and my partner were remortgaging our house. And the owner of the airline was really good to give us that time. So really, we really came from humble beginnings. So don't let anyone tell you can't do anything, because if you put your mind to it, you really can. And that was the original AirAsia. It had a bird. I don't know why airlines are preoccupied with animals. You know, we have tigers, we have lions. In Malaysia, we actually have an airline named after an insect, Firefly. Really dumb name, because Firefly is the shortest living insect. And so I want to focus a little bit on branding, because SMEs, you know, you have great ideas, and the ideas are lost because you don't put enough money into marketing. So we dropped the bird. I tried really hard not to be red, because, you know, everyone thinks I want to be Richard Branson, but can I just assure everyone that I have no intention to go in a balloon at 36,000 feet, and I have no intention to go to the moon. There's too many good things to do in Manila than go to the moon. And so I dropped the bird, and if you know the biggest logos in the world, there's only one image, right? If I say Shell, you're thinking of Shell. If I say Nike, you think of the Nike swoosh. If I say Coca-Cola, you think of Coca-Cola. So I dropped the bird, and I used AirAsia as our logo, and I changed it to red. And it looks a lot better, doesn't it? And that's just not the women as well. But the whole appearance of the airline looked much better. And over the last 14 years, we've grown from 2 planes to 200 planes. We went from 200 staff to now we have 17,000 staff. And in our first year, we carried 200,000 passengers. And now, this year, we'll carry 55 million passengers. And we've won the world's best low-cost carrier 7 years in a row. And last week was really a cool week for me. AirAsia won the Asia's best cabin crew. We're the first LCC to beat all the full-service carriers. It's a fantasy of mine. We beat Singapore Airlines. So I keep telling the Singaporeans there's a new girl in town. Twice the fun and half the price. No more Singapore girl, the AirAsia girl is here. So what's our secret? How do we do it? I don't have long because Mr. Uber took all my time. And on AirAsia, we're on time, generally. Provided Manila Airport traffic control allows you to land. Okay? I talked to the president about that about 1,001 times. So what's our secret? Really quickly, by 14 minutes and 41 seconds. 3 things I want to focus on. One is branding. The other is people. Your biggest asset are the people in your company. And I'll spend a little bit of time on that when we go through. There's the people slide. So, when I first started in AirAsia, which is another point for all you SMEs, I don't think you can be an effective leader unless you go down to the ground and know exactly what's happening. Too many Asian CEOs lock themselves in the office and just command. So I used to carry bags once a month. I used to be a steward once every 2 months. And then the job I hated most, checking in people, I used to do every 3 months. But I wouldn't have made effective decisions unless I did that. And I'll give you 2 stories on that. When I was carrying bags, when we were on the 737, we should just throw the bags in to the cargo hold. I mean, not throw the bags in, lovingly put the bags in. Nice bag, put it in. When we went to the Airbus, it was a few inches taller, and we couldn't throw the bags in. So my boys asked me for belt loaders, and I said, no, we can't afford that, no belt loaders. So the next time I carried bags, they put me on the Indonesian flights. Now, people who fly on AirAsia generally bring their house with them. People who fly to Indonesia bring their neighbor's house as well. So there were a lot of bags, okay? And I almost destroyed my back in the process, and I went, okay, guys, I'm wrong, you're right, we go buy belt loaders tomorrow. Now, if I didn't do that, I probably would have destroyed many people's backs and probably started a union. In 14 years, we don't have a single union. Malaysian Airlines has 41 unions. And so I think corporate culture is so critical, and accessibility to your staff. I dressed up today for, I bought these trousers in M&S because I didn't have any in Glorietta, because Tony was driving me nuts about his business attire. But generally, I just wear a t-shirt and jeans. And I deliberately look worse than my staff, because then there's no distance between you and your staff. If you look worse than them, they have every confidence in talking to you. And I'd rather have 17,000 brains working for me than just 10 guys telling me everything. Gives me problems in Malaysian airports because they generally think I'm an illegal immigrant that just jumped off the latest plane, but I'll deal with that. So I think being a good leader is accessibility to your staff, ability for them to communicate with you, and being very transparent. The second part of why I went to the ground is we couldn't have gone from 2 planes to 200 planes without people. And you weren't going to manufacture pilots or just pick them up from the Rustam store or whatever. You had to go out and build it. So I decided to look for people within my organization. And this is, if there's one lesson you take away from it today, is Be unconventional in how you look for your people. When I was carrying bags, I saw so many bright kids who just left school when they were 13 or 14 due to financial reasons, who were much, much smarter than me. So when we had our first cadet pilot program, we opened it up to everyone. I said, I don't care whether you have A levels, O levels, whatever. If you want to be a pilot, we'll support you. And our first 18 cadets, 11 came from within the company who had left school, 14, 15. They were store boys, accounts clerks, etc., etc. And we had one boy who left school when he was 13. I carried bags with him, and I thought he was so smart, and I said, I'll pay for you to go do this. He had the highest marks ever in the Malaysian Flying Academy. He carried bags for us, and he took the exams, and he had the highest marks ever, and today, he's a captain. So you imagine, you join the airline to carry bags, 8 years on, you're a captain in a brand new A320. And that's the energy, and that's the power in AirAsia, that people believe they can do anything. Females, there were no female pilots in Malaysia. And I said to my captain, I said, why are there no female pilots? And he came up with the most ridiculous answer that can be never repeated again. And I said, if a woman can run a country, she can certainly fly a plane. And now we have 45 female pilots. And the other day was history. Captain was female, co-pilot was female, all the cabin crew were female, and all the passengers were male. That bit's not true. And the girl on the left-hand side of the slide, when I was in a bar one day having an orange juice, she came up to me and said, look, my dream is to be a pilot. I said, go for it. She's a very smart Thai girl, and she went for it. She calls me up a year later and says, everyone says I'm really beautiful. Can I take part in Miss Thailand? Very interesting concept. But okay, if you win, I get to use your photograph for the rest of your life for free. And she said, okay. And she won Miss Thailand. She took part in Miss Universe and came 5th in Miss Universe. And now she's back in AirAsia as a captain. So she's the only we're the only airline in the world with a Miss Thailand flying for them. Okay? But the moral of the story is not that. The moral of the story is because we're such a flat structure, she had the courage to ask her to live her dreams, to ask whatever she wants. She was one phone call away from me. And I think effective decision making is about removing bureaucracy, is about allowing people not to be afraid and telling you. We have grown so quickly because everyone's got the same mission, everyone's got the same vision. Branding is not about external branding. Branding, most importantly, is about internal branding. Because if you want to sell your product outside, if the people inside your company don't understand it, then 50% loss, right? So we spend a lot of time on that. So the biggest asset you have in your company is your people. My biggest job is to turn raw diamonds into diamonds. And to all of you guys, as you're competing against the bigger boys, your advantage is your flexibility and your ability to get more out of people than big corporate stuffy organizations that don't allow growth. And branding. We've spent a lot of money on branding. Initially, I used to wear my cap everywhere because we had no money and make controversial statements so that people would take photographs of me. But I do that less now. And we were a small airline with 7 planes, but we sponsored Manchester United. Very, very difficult for me because I hate that football club. But you have to be a prostitute once in a while, And so we were a little airline, but yet we were in Old Trafford. And people before used to think, oh no, you have to stand on the plane, you'll be sitting next to a chicken, etc. But when we sponsored Manchester United, suddenly it was like, wow, that's a serious airline. And we were cheeky with advertising. I always had this running battle with Singapore. When they blocked me for 7 years between KL and Singapore, and probably because of my mouth. And but we did this great ad. So everything in Singapore was Singapore girl, Singapore girl, Singapore girl. So we put and they have a Singapore Airlines stewardess looking up in the sky at a megatop. So we put our little plane there, put our 4 girls, and said there's a new girl in town, she's twice the fun and half the price. And instantaneously everyone knew us, not because of that ad, because if you look at the 2 skyscrapers, I erased Singapore Airlines Tower from the Singapore skyline. And instantaneously everyone knew us. So make sure you always put branding into you and be a little bit on the right side, because you never know. Technology has been a great leveler for us, and we really, the ability for us in the early days, no one used the internet before we came along. And now 85% of our business is on the internet. We're a big, big believer in mobile technology, and I think it's really important for SMEs to really involve themselves in technology. I won't go through this because I think David covered it very well, but data is king. Please make sure you have a little bit of a budget to know your customers, because that's crucial going forward. So that covers what I want to say. I just want to tell everyone out there that you can live your dreams, because as a 5-year-old, I always felt I wanted to own an airline. As a 13-year-old, my parents sent me to boarding school. They didn't like me very much, and they packed me off to England. I remember getting on this Qantas plane and wearing a unaccompanied minor and arriving in London. And the first thing I thought was, God, everyone's white here. I told my daughter, you have no such problem, because when you're around Heathrow now, everyone's Indian. So you feel quite at home. And I remember going back to school, and I arrived at Epsom College, in my boarding school, and think, Jesus Christ, what have I done wrong in my life? And I was calling my mother with, 10 pence coins, because we didn't have mobile phone then. And I said, can I come home for Christmas? And she said, no, it's too expensive. And it was in my brain always that I wanted to start a low-cost airline. So live your dreams, because from some dreams comes some reality. Don't worry whether people laugh at you or whatever, because if you don't dream, you won't have that wonderful opportunity to change your life or change a business opportunity. Never take no for an answer, because thousands of people will say, no, you can't do it, it can't be done, etc., etc. There's a very fine line between brilliance and stupidity, but no is a key word. And always be positive, because you only have one life. And don't be afraid of failure, because if you fail, you can try again. You don't want to sit there at 55 and say, I wish I did it, because you can't press a rewind button. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandes. We now move on to the Q&A portion of our session with Mr. Fernandes. We will have to limit this one to 2 questions only. Thank you.
See, the low-cost airline always gets rationed. Slots in Manila, questions. Yes, sir.
Hi, Tony. John Salas. I came from Glendale, California. And I have the same, little background in aviation. So my question for you is, why Airbus, not Boeing?
Oh, right, they're cheaper. Basically.
Is it the same concept as
Yeah,
JetBlue?
they're all the same. They're both great planes, but Airbus gave us a better deal, and we're low cost.
Is that free maintenance for? Is that a lease program or?
No, we own all our planes.
You own. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hi,
Yes,
Tony.
sir.
Butch
Hi.
Bartolome. I'd like to ask you, or you are always into partnership. What's your view on partnership?
Oh, right. Partnership is really sacred. I haven't been too good at it at marriage, but in business we've been very good. Well, that took a little bit of a delay. Good Catholic country. We have great partners here, Ambassador Yao, etc. Ma'an, who came with me from the music business and has been bloody awesome. We don't understand Philippines like our partners understand Philippines. We're good at running an airline, but we don't understand the dynamics here as well. Similar in Indonesia and everywhere we go. So partnership, I think, is critical. But your partner has to, if it's a partner of equals, it's a disaster. So we had that in Japan, where ANA, 2 airlines tried to do it together, and it was like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, right? It was just horrific. So in partnership, if one partner knows his role and the other partner does it, then it works out great. And that's been our feeling so far. Okay. I've got 1 minute 36, so can I take a third question? Okay. Someone stuck their hand up somewhere. Yes, sir.
Hi, Mr. Fernandes. I'm Albert. I come from the service industry here in the Philippines. I agree with everything you've said. I'm a big fan, by the way.
Thank you.
And I
You want a
haven't.
free ticket somewhere?
Yes, in fact.
Where
I
would you
do.
like to go?
Cebu.
Cebu, okay.
Okay.
See me afterwards. You get 2 tickets to Cebu.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you. Funny you mentioned, though, but
yeah.
I'm going to start
I'm
this question.
so cheap. You
Okay.
say I'm a fan, I give you 2
Great,
tickets.
I'm a great. I'm going to say this. I'm still a great fan despite the fact
That I bribed you.
that I had a horrible experience with AirAsia.
Oh no.
All right. I mean, and this is part of my question. I
Yeah.
come from the service industry.
Yeah,
You know what people say about you get what you pay for.
yeah,
And in my case, it seemed that way because I really didn't get the kind of customer service response that would have appeased me, a passenger who had to wait 7 hours in Cebu, flying back to Manila.
yeah,
Without, actually, I agree with you, technology, because I was looking at your mobile app. It was more accurate more updated than the ground staff updating
Yeah.
us. So I was updating your other customers for you, stuff like that. But we were there for 7 hours.
okay.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to my aunt.
Now, my
So-
question again is about
She
customer
runs
service.
AirAsia Philippines.
All right, great.
Now look, like anything, we're gonna screw up.
Yeah.
And I think complaints such as yours is what makes us better, right? So I always tell my staff, complaints is free market research. Someone took the time to write to you to tell you why you're bad. And so we take it very positive. We've had a tough time in the Philippines for a variety of reasons, which, this is not the appropriate place to actually say it. But there's a yellow and a blue kind of thing there. So, but we're wrong. But watch us in December. We're going to really change aviation in Philippines. We've worked bloody hard, and we're really, really confident about our airline in 2016. So obviously, when you get your free ticket, we're going to treat you like God.
Thank you.
4 girls will take you on the stage, we'll comb your hair, we'll do whatever. Ma'an, please take note. He's a good-looking guy. Ma'an is single. But
Take it.
more importantly, when you take your next AirAsia flight, write to me. And if we suck, then I'll resign. Okay? I am very, very confident that AirAsia Philippines is going to be the most loved airline and an airline that will change tourism here. You have an amazing country here. You really have an amazing country.
Thank you very much.
You should be very proud of what you've achieved. I go around the world saying the shining light in ASEAN is the Philippines. It really is. And I get myself in loads of trouble by telling the truth. But in this case, you really have. So we're very bullish in the Philippines. We're very bullish about showing the world in a sustainable manner the amazing places you have in this country. And we have great people here. We've been a little bit unlucky. So check us out in 2016. Enjoy your free flight. Enjoy Ma'an. And
I look forward.
The
Thank
next
you.
flight is more important. My email is tonyfernandez@airasia.com.
Okay,
Let
got
me
it.
know your experience.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay.
Fernandes.